What's up, everybody? Caleb from thebookflipper.com. I've got a cool new spreadsheet to share with you, and it kind of stemmed from people asking me, how do I know if my inventory is good, if it's stale, what the ranks are currently looking like. I know what my inventory was when I sourced it, but some of it's not selling. What stuff should I remove? So we tried to come up with a way to visualize what your inventory is. And we've done a couple of these in the past. We've looked at average age. We've looked at how old the inventory is, kind of the sales rank, some of the storage fees. This is kind of a different way to view it. And it was really fun to put together. My spreadsheet, inner nerd, kind of came out. And I hope you enjoy this as much as I enjoyed putting it together. But what we're going to do is this is a visual way to view the inventory. And let's just jump right in and I'll explain what we're doing. This is available for free from Gumroad. There's a link down below. If you want to pitch in a couple of bucks, you can certainly do it. My golf game or my coffee habit rather will say thanks. Otherwise, just throw a 0 in there and you can download it for free. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab your inventory health report. There's a direct link right from the spreadsheet here if you want to grab it that way. Otherwise, simply come to Seller Central, Reports, Fulfillment. Over on the left, it'll say Inventory. You'll have to click Show More, Inventory Health, Download, and then Request Download. Once you do that, you can download the health report, open it up. It'll be a text file just like this. You can Control A or Control Alt, grab everything, copy it, Control C, and then come on over to cell A1 and paste that magic in. Now, section 2 or the second tab says don't touch me, so we're going to ignore that. And then this is where the magic happens. So what you're going to do is you're going to pop open the sheet and you're going to look here. And what this is every dot here represents inventory, specifically your inventory. And there's a reason why they're different colors. So we've got these quadrants or 4 quadrants, and it's not perfectly balanced out. You'll see there's kind of an angled quadrant. I'll explain that in just a second. And everything's color coded. On the bottom, or the x-axis, we've got rank. So 0 or the best rank is over on the left, and then a rank of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, etc. And we're only looking at books. And then on the y-axis, we're looking at the prices, so 10, 20, 30, and so on. Now what I did is every dot on this chart represents a rank, so in this case 3.08 million or 3.1 million, and a price of $87. Now this is not my current price necessarily. This is just the lowest merchant fulfilled used price on the listing. And the reason we did that is because as you get into higher ranked material, I really don't care what the prime price is. In fact, I don't think there's much of a prime bump once you get north of maybe 2, 2.5, 3, somewhere in this ballpark. And so I don't think it matters just because a book that you scan is a $10 merchant fulfilled book and it's selling for $100. That may be possible. That's not likely unless the rank is really, really good and lots of people are buying it. And so what we've done is we've kind of come up with, this is my criteria, and I share this with a lot of people, and you may tweak it slightly or use it. The way I view my inventory is if the rank is 3 million, I'm not going to buy it and put it into my inventory unless the lowest merchant fulfilled used price is $30. The reason being is 3 million is not crazy high, and I'm certainly okay buying it, but I'm not going to buy a 3 million ranked book if the lowest merchant fulfilled price is $7 or $8 or $5, because I'm not going to bank on getting a huge prime bump for that particular book. So what I've done is, let's see if we can help visualize this. We're just going to add a line to this chart. You can see that what I've done is I've broken the inventory into basically 4 quadrants. So everything in this orange area I'm calling bread and butter. It's got a merchant fulfilled price of under $20, which is great. There's a lot of great inventory in there. The prime price might be way higher. That's okay. But the lowest merchant fulfilled used price is under $20 and the rank is under 2 million. So these are the books you're going to come across all the time in thrift stores. They're certainly worth buying if there's some meat on the bone and if there's some profit. But these aren't, they're not going to let you retire early. They're just going to be what the meat of your inventory is. So for this account, it's a little over 7,000 units would meet that bread and butter requirement. The next category up is what I like to call the studs, and these are great books. Their rank is still good. It's under 2 million. And again, 2 million is not a hard and fast rule for me. I just had to draw something into the spreadsheet, so that's what we came up with. If you're still not buying anything under or over 1 million, you're missing out on a lot. You can see there's a ton of inventory here that's ranked over 1 million. And again, rank is fluid. Just because you purchased it at 500,000, a week later it could be over 1 million, and maybe not as good from that perspective. But what we've done is anything that's less than 2 million that has merchant fulfilled used prices, which is usually the lowest price on that listing period. If it's over $20, it's a stud. It's a great purchase. You can see there's a lot of expensive books in this inventory. Most of those are probably going to be textbooks. So again, the higher you get on the y-axis, closer to $100, that's great. And the better the rank, that's phenomenal, because you could certainly drop your price and match the lowest merchant fulfilled, or just ask for a small prime premium and sell these very, very quickly. So these are the studs. There's about a little under 4,000 units that currently meet that criteria. Over here's where it gets more interesting, and this is where you've got to kind of fine tune. As your inventory gets much higher in rank, you can see there's some books that are pretty high, over 5, 6, 7, 8 million. It's not bad to have what people call long tail. Long tail just means there's not a lot of demand for it. So these books aren't selling very often, and in order to justify putting them into your inventory as well as keeping them in your inventory, I think it's important that they have a high merchant fulfilled price, if that makes sense. So the lowest price on the listing better be high to justify it. And my rules are roughly, once it gets to 2 million in this case, because again, I had to make a hard and fast rule, I want to see merchant fulfilled prices higher than $20. 3 million, I want to see merchant fulfilled higher than $30. 4 million, 40, you get the picture all the way up. Now, I really don't buy much over 8 or 10 million unless there's like no listings on it, period. In which case, it's probably an artificially high rank. And if I put a reasonable price, $49, $99, $25, whatever the price point is, there's actually a good chance that someone may come and find that book. So I will buy really high rank stuff if nobody's on the listing. But if there's, in this case, this dot is awful. It's a 7.5 million rank. The lowest merchant fulfilled price is under $6. This book, regardless of when I bought it, maybe I bought it at a better rank, maybe it didn't have an E-score, or I got tricked somehow, or maybe I just put something in my inventory I shouldn't have. At some point, you got to squash this. So for me, anything above this line, I'm going to put into the long tail inventory, and it's good long tail. It's worth taking the risk. It's worth rolling the dice. There's not a lot of inventory, just over 200 units. The merchant fulfilled value used is 10 grand, and the average is $45. So if these sell, they're worth it. And so I would not mind keeping these in my inventory. Everything south of this kind of angled blue line, I want to get rid of at some point. Now, I'm going to say that loosely because there's no storage fees for the first 12 months. So as long as some of this sells with between 0 and 12 months, it's really worth it. I'm only paying a couple of cents, 2 to 3, maybe 6 or 8 cents if it's a textbook. I'm only paying a couple cents to let it sit in inventory, and it may be worth the risk. And again, if you have some cash to burn and you're fine taking some risks, it may make sense. Where it really comes into play is the chart down below is going to be anything in my inventory that's going to be charged long-term storage fees. So this stuff's over 12 months old. The long-term storage fees every month, there's a 15-cent minimum, is going to be $35. So this inventory, if I'm willing to sit on it, is okay. You can see I've sold off all of the studs. There's one left, no value really. So someone has there's no merchant fulfilled listing on it, so I'm probably on it new. Bread and butter, there's a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't sold for whatever reason. Maybe the price is too low. I've got a floor price or something in there. And then we've got a bunch of duds. So anything that's yellow, if you can go find that inventory, you're going to want to dump it because I'm going to be paying long-term storage fees. This one, you might say it's worth keeping. It's a 5.4 million rank book, and it's $52. So it doesn't quite meet my criteria of being $54 at that rank. Something like that, you may want to keep rolling the dice and wait for it to sell. But anything that's hugging the bottom line that's under $10 that hasn't sold yet, especially if the rank is over 3 or 4 or 5 million, it's time to dump those. Gray items may be worth keeping until the merchant fulfilled price drops below that line, in which case you may want to dump that as well. Let me share a few other things and how to kind of analyze this chart. So we're going to delete that line. So again, you can kind of get a feel of what your inventory looks like. You'll notice there's some dots on the bottom. What these are is we're on the listing new, and there's no used merchant fulfilled. So it just shows a 0 down here. And that may throw it off a little bit, but don't worry about those too much. You'll see there's kind of an artificial line here created because most people's floor price is $5 merchant fulfilled. So you'll see a whole bunch of books there. Anything under that, it's not really great. You can see someone's got a merchant fulfilled price of $1.30. And again, these, I believe, are landed prices, meaning they're not making money if that sells. They're losing money. But this gives you a good idea of what the inventory is. You can again see your overall inventory metrics, 12,000 units, merchant fulfilled value. So this is if you sold used or new at the lowest merchant fulfilled value on the listings, about 500 grand, 550, average price, and then total FBA value. Now this is a little skewed. There's a lot of new inventory in here actually. And let me show you real quick. If we come over to inventory health, this is the only place that you can actually get the lowest used price on the listing. So here's your price on a listing, for example. Here is the lowest Prime or Amazon fulfilled new price. Here's the lowest Amazon fulfilled used price, lowest merchant fulfilled new, lowest merchant fulfilled used. So if we highlight the entire used merchant fulfilled column, you can see the average price is just over 19 bucks. The average used Prime price is closer to 24. So it's about a $3.50, $4 Prime bump. And that's pretty consistent with what we normally see as a normal Prime bump. Again, everything goes out the window with textbooks, but that just gives you a feel. There's some weird stuff going on. The average merchant fulfilled new price is $59. And the average Prime new, because there's not a lot of Prime new sellers, is only 41. There's a lot of zero values, which is dragging that average down. So don't take this bump too seriously. We're looking at maybe a $1.50 bump. I'll look at some other data and I'll show you what that bump actually looks like. But this gives you an idea of the health of your inventory. The more you have in the studs category, the better. If you've got a lot of stuff in the duds category, it may be time to clean up the inventory and try and dump some of the older stuff. And let me show you two more things and then we'll plug a bunch more data into this and kind of let you look at some other inventory. If you double click on the bottom area, the horizontal axis here, it's going to give you the option. You come under axis options and this little chart. You can actually change the maximum rank. So if we wanted to, we could change that up to 20 with 6 zeros or 20 million, hit tab. And here is all the inventory now compressed. So you can see there's a few way big outliers. It's time to crush these. These are duds. The rank is 17 million. There's no reason this should be in the inventory. So it's time to dump it. If you want to zoom in, let's say you don't have anything over, let's say 4 million, you could do that as well. So you could just highlight the whole thing if you want. If you don't want to deal with the decimals that way, you could just come in here and do 4 million like that, and it'll zoom in. That's 40 million. See if it's smart enough. Nope. All right. Hard to count and talk at the same time. There's 4 million. So you can zoom in on your inventory. I want to zoom in on the y-axis though. So again, you can double click here. I want to show you something. Right now we've zoomed in from 0 to 100. If you want to zoom out, you can go 0 to 500, for example, and see if you have some really valuable inventory, which there is. Again, long tail like this is great. It's got a high rank, but a really high price. Is it going to sell for that? Maybe not, but it's a really high price for some reason. I want to zoom way in, actually. Let's go to $10. And you'll notice here there's some artificial lines. And the reason for this, I had to look at this for a minute and try and see what's going on. So you can see that, again, ranks on the bottom, 0 to 4 million. We've got some artificial lines at 4, where a bunch of people have their floor price of $4, merchant fulfilled. Again, this is the lowest used merchant fulfilled. Then we have a bunch of lines here at 5, 550, and 6. And the reason for that is a lot of repricing software does not look at the actual fees and doesn't look at your actual payout. And so people just throw an artificial price in and say, hey, I want my floor price to be $5. That's the strongest line across. So a lot of sellers, a lot of merchant fulfilled sellers, the Jensens, the Goodwills, Better World Books, those type of sellers, they're going to throw a minimum price of $5. Whether the book is half a pound or 3 pounds, they probably don't differentiate, and they're just going to sell it at $5. So you see a big line there, $5.50 again as a minimum price, and then again at $6. So let's put this back and let's go look at a couple other inventory amounts. We'll put it back to 100, and then for the x-axis here, we'll throw that back up to, let's go 8 million. All right, so back where we started, and I've got a handful of inventory health reports from people I've helped over the years. These are really old. I didn't want to get any current inventory in here. These are all from like 2016, so we're looking at 2.5, almost 3 years ago. We're going to grab these, so copy all, go back over to inventory health, and we're going to paste those in just like that, and magically the dashboard will update. So again, your inventory may look more like this. This is a seller with almost 900 units in inventory. These are mostly used, so this data will be a little more accurate instead of having a mix of new and used. But you can see the lowest used price on average is $586. The lowest prime price, these are not their prices. These are the prices currently on the listings when this was done. is about $8. So about a 2.25, a little over $2 average prime bump. And you can see there's a lot of inventory that's got really low values. You can see back then, 2.5, 3 years ago, the floor price was really $4, and that was a penny book plus $3.99 shipping. It was hard to get under that because you couldn't set your own shipping, although it looks like there's a couple really weird outliers. So this was the inventory. You can see not many true long tail. If this seller was trying to dump some inventory, they may want to get rid of some of the stuff, especially way out here that's cheap and long tail. Again, if we scroll down, this particular seller, none of the inventory was over 12 months old, so no long-term storage fees. So it's not urgent to dump some of this, but as it starts to age, they're going to probably want to look at that. Let's look at a few more accounts here. So we'll grab another seller's inventory, pop on up, come on over to inventory health, and paste it in here as well. Wait for it to catch, update my sheet. Here we go again. So here you can see this seller, the average merchant fulfilled value, they must have a lot of new items because it was $13. The average FBA value was under that. So there's probably something weird going with some zero values. But again, we can look at the lowest merchant fulfilled price, and you can see there's a fair amount of bread and butter inventory. Very few studs, so most of their good stuff is sold. A ton of duds, 900, more than half their inventory is in what we'd call this dud category. And again, I say that loosely because between 2 and 3 million, that's still an okay range for many sellers to be in. But there's still a lot of inventory value that's probably not great. And then again, we can look at long-term value. See here, their long-term storage fees aren't very much. There's very few items that are going to be charged. But again, as this inventory ages, they're going to want to try and take a peek and maybe dump some of this. Let's look at one more, and then we'll let you jump in and handle it on your own. So again, we copy everything, come over to inventory health, grab everything, paste, and we go and see what the new chart looks like. So this seller has more inventory over in the bread and butter category. You can see the lowest merchant fulfilled price for them was about $8. The average FBA value was quite a bit higher, looking at a little over $5 bump on average. So that's pretty great. Lots of inventory in the bread and butter. This is stuff that should be, a couple dollar profit. A fair amount of studs. So this is, $35 average merchant fulfilled price. And then they probably have a bump on top of that. Very few long tail inventory, and then a bunch of duds as we get into here. And then again, storage fees, nothing's over 12 months for this particular seller. So nothing urgent, nothing to really take care of. So that is it. That's, again, just a different way to view your inventory. Again, you can download this sheet for free. There's a link down below. Just put $0 when you check out, and it'll email a link from Gumroad. So thanks for watching. Put your comments down below, and let me know what questions you have. And again, hopefully this gives you a good idea. And as you source material, try and keep this rough rule in mind. If it's a 3 million rank, you want to stick under, it's got to be $30 or higher merchant fulfilled. 4 million rank, it should be $40 or higher merchant fulfilled. Again, I think that once you get above 2.5 million, there's no prime bump. And so when the price, even if the lowest merchant fulfilled price in this case is $15 and the prime price is $50, I still wouldn't buy it because it's more likely going to be a $15 book due to the low demand for that particular book. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you visualize your inventory and encourages you to stick mostly, again, there's a certain amount of studs out there. Try and find those. Don't ignore the bread and butter. That's going to be what makes you a couple bucks every time. That should be a good chunk of your inventory. And make sure that as you get into the long tail stuff, it's truly valuable, not just down here in the dud category. That's all for now. Stay tuned, and we'll keep more videos coming.